So thank you for joining me again today for Workbench Wednesday number 7. Today is all about progression with your metal clay journey. So there's lots of sort of areas that I want to cover during today's session. So thank you for joining me. If you're there, give me a thumbs up, say hello. I'm going to see if anybody's there already. Dropping me a line. Hi Helen, nice to see you along. Hi Wiz. Good, it's just good to know I'm not talking to myself. So, hi Pat. Week 7, can't believe it. I know it's really flown, hasn't it? Really flown. I think when I started this, I kind of babbled that first week and then come off of that in the first week and thought, what have I done? How am I going to fill every week? But yeah, it's okay. I'm doing fine. I'm happy with the way it's going at the moment. Anyway, hi Richard, hi Joy, hi Joan, hi Tracy. Thank you for joining me. Hey, fantastic. So today I want to talk about your metal clay journey and how you progress with it. Really. I know what my journey is, and I know a lot of people and how you're moving on with it, but just wanted to give you some thoughts of mine, some suggestions. You may already be there with what you want to do, but yeah, so progression. Are you a self-taught, or are you attending workshops, or are you following lots of YouTube videos, or are you online courses? Whatever you want to do, there's definitely a journey that you want to make in, everything you learn, you want to get better. Good morning from Canada. Wow, thank you Laurel, thank you for joining us from Canada. So everything you do, you do something, and you always want to make a little bit of an improvement and move on to the next little stage of development. So there's lots of different ways you can do that. Of course, you can just kind of sit at your bench and experiment and play, or you can join workshops and classes that give you guidance and instruction to do that. So there's definitely sort of skilling up sessions that you can do with another tutor or in a peer group. Hi Nikki. So yeah, there's those sorts of things you can do. Challenges, there's lots of challenges out there that you can participate in. I know, like, there's a ring a month which Anna Campbell organises. So lovely Anna, who lives up in Edinburgh in Scotland, she runs a Facebook page called Ring a Month. So it challenges you to usually there's a theme to each month, so to making a ring around that particular theme. So that might be a starting point, an inspiration to push yourself, because you'll see lots of other work that are on there from other people, other participants within the group, and there's stimulation in there that it might inspire you to think, oh well, I like that, maybe I'll have a go at that little idea or technique. So those Facebook pages that are there, so for Anna Campbell's Ring a Month, so you can participate and make your own ring, but equally you can see lots of other ideas that might inspire you and inspire your journey to push you into wanting to learn or experiment with a technique. So there's Anna's group. There's also Joy Funnel, who is doing cabochon a month, set a cabochon a month. I'm sure she's still got that page going as well. So that's an interesting one. And the Alliance for Metal Clay Worldwide, is it worldwide? Alliance for Metal Clay, yeah, well, anyway, AMCOR. they're running one called Bits and Pieces. So they challenge you, and they'll give you some little tips and hints on little suggestions of things you can use to create a piece that might inspire you or push you or challenge you. I remember going back many years ago, going to a conference in America, and one of the sort of challenges they did while everybody was there, I think they had something like, I'm off the top of my head, I think it might have been about 20 bags of literally bits and pieces in this bag. And one of them was like a little piece of tubing and a piece of cotton and some random bits of, there were 5 items in there, and you had to make a piece of jewellery just using the 5 items in there and a piece of silver clay. It was the hardest thing I ever did. I opened this bag and I was full of dread. I just didn't know what to do with it. But anyway, I did come up with something, but some other people came up with some amazing ideas. So the bits and pieces challenge can really challenge your mind. I procrastinate over stuff like that for so long. It challenges me to think of what I might do with them. But, you know, a challenge is a good thing. So there's those challenges that might push you and into and inspiring you in your metal clay journey to think of something new, or think of a new way of using something. So, you know, you might want to think about those. There's lots of different ways people learn as well. I'm very much a kinesthetic learner, which means I've actually got to physically do something, to perform a task, to engage in that activity in order to get the most out of that learning opportunity. Watching a video or reading a tutorial, they're inspiring, but I can't say I desperately learn from them. I'll only learn once I actually get involved in actually physically making it, because that's how I learn, by actually physically making something. So those magazines and books and all that sort of thing, I love to see them, but my best learning opportunities is to actually engage in making something, and that pushes me along, because I'll make something and then that'll give me an inspiration for something else and something else and something else. And that's why I've got oodles and oodles of little books. There might be sketches, they're usually little notes. I write little notes to myself all the time, and sometimes I'll come back to those notes and wonder what they meant. But you know, these little nuggets of information kind of feed my inspiration and my journey, and I'm just trying to give you a little bit of what I do to help you. It is, as Joy pointed out this morning, it is Tutor Inspiration Day. So yeah, lots of tutors have inspired me along my progression, and I did just post recently, just a little bit earlier, about the people who have inspired me. My first inspirational tutor was my sewing teacher at school, Miss Bratsanas, and she actually saw something in me where nobody else did, and she encouraged me, and I really felt valued in that area, and that's where my creativity kind of blossomed. And then as time went on and I discovered metal clay, and I first got involved in metal clay, it was Sue Heaser and Linda Cheney. Now Sue Heaser has written a couple of books on metal clay. It was Sue Heaser and Linda Cheney who got my metal clay journey started, really. I first learnt with them and went on to do my certification with them, so they put me on the right path with metal clay. And then later down the line, I recognised that the best way for me to go forwards was to engage in as much learning as I possibly could. Again, I'm saying I had to physically do something. So I signed up and did as many masterclasses as I possibly could with some great tutors. So from Holly Gage, I did a fantastic couple of classes with Holly, who really made me, she really opened my eyes and made me appreciate the devil's in the detail. And I hope I kind of pass that on as well. You know, that's her legacy that to me, and I hope that I pass that on too. That the devil's in the detail of some of the little nuances of detail that you can put into your pieces. You know, it's worth taking that extra little step to progress and improve and get better and add that little bit more interest into your pieces. Terry Kowalczyk taught me about accuracy, really about accuracy. I made lockets one of my first challenges I did to myself was to teach myself how to make a locket. And then later I did a locket workshop with Terry. And while I kind of taught myself the initial skills and techniques, it was Terry that I knuckled down those nuances of detail that I'd kind of knew where to improve on. So it was those things that I got off Terry, and invaluable details. Hattie Sanderson, sadly Hattie's no longer sort of in the metal clay field, but she was an inspiring tutor to me. She had a book, or still has a book, called Metal Clay Rings, and again she was so creative. It was inspiring to see these amazing designs, and I did a couple of classes with her, and she blew me away, and her thought processing just blew me away. So I valued the information that I was getting from these tutors. Anna Maison, amazing tutor. She works minuscule. I mean, you see pictures of her pieces on Facebook, on the internet, and you don't appreciate how teeny tiny they are and the detail she's added. So she gave me confidence to go smaller, because I always thought, you can never go that small because it's not going to be strong enough. Well, you can actually. Again, there's details there that you need to just make sure that you get lots of connecting parts in there to get the nuances of detail. Wanery Tanner was an amazing, innovative designer, fantastic lady, very generous in her thought processes, and again I did a couple of classes with Wanery, and that was a wonderful experience too. And I've also mentioned Jessica. Now, although I haven't actually taken any classes from Jessica, if you know Jessica Rose, she runs the Jewelers Academy, and she's just the most uplifting, warm-spirited lady, and just every time I hear her voice, she's amazing. She just lifts my spirits in every sort of way, and she puts a lot of free stuff out there. So I think she's amazing, just with her generosity. So it's these tutors that have inspired me and made me look at the processes that I use and in what I do. So details are really important, and it's by taking classes that I think it's not only the details that you learn how to improve your skills there, it's the people I've met, the connections I've made whilst doing these classes. So sometimes you may think of a class as being a quite expensive process. If you're doing lots of online courses, they're great. It's been a lifesaver during the pandemic, hasn't it, to do sort of stuff online. But if you can get to in-person classes, I think they are amazing events to get to. As I say, it's not just the class that or the product that you're going to learn, the item that you're going to learn. Could you please give a list of the tutors you mentioned so we can look at their work after your talk, Patricia? Okay, so if you go onto my own Facebook page, which is Tracy Spurgeon, I had just posted this morning, or not even this morning, earlier, all their names. So all their names are there. If you go onto my Facebook page, Tracy Spurgeon, my own Facebook page, they're there. The names are there. So go and take a look. So yeah, it's not just that particular project task that has inspired me and pushed my journey on. It's, as I say, it's the people I've met and the connections I've made, and in there that they're all interlinked. So these classes are valuable, so valuable, and I want you to think about going forwards as we're coming out of the pandemic and as we move forward into the future. Again, sometimes for some people online classes or Zoom classes are going to be the only option, and that's absolutely fine. I'm going to continue to do those as well, because you know I can't be everywhere, and I know lots of people have requested me to do more Zoom classes and more online classes, which I will do. I've got a long list now I've got to get to, but if you can ever get to in-person classes, they are 10 times better than you're ever going to imagine them to be. So retreats, there's retreats and things that happen as well. So again, these retreats and conferences and master classes, there is a price tag to pay for these classes, but I can only tell you that every single thing I've ever done, every retreat, every conference, every masterclass I've ever done has been worth its weight in gold, for every single thing I've learned from it, not just those details, but from making the connections, from meeting people, from the networking that you do. So if ever you get the opportunity, I can't recommend getting to these workshops and classes enough. For the future, and maybe get involved in those challenges. If you're finding the cost of doing those courses is just too much, or you're not able to do it, then those challenges are a great way of pushing yourself and moving yourself forward and inspiring you and giving you themes to work towards. So I think they're great to accompany all your learning processes. Something I wanted to get onto was, I'm just checking my notes again. I got a load of, they're all handwritten this time. My notes again. Something else I wanted to get onto was the certification program that is available. Now this may or may not be for you. It'll depend on whether you're making for pleasure, whether you're just making for yourself, for your friends, for your family, to give away as gifts, and you might be satisfied with what you're doing. That's absolutely fine. If you want to move your metal clay journey on and perhaps get into making to sell, or moving on into teaching yourselves, then I think it's worth considering going through the certification program, simply because the certification program will mean obviously you're skilling up, but it will also offer you your metal clay at discounted rates. And to be honest, if you're making to sell or you're wanting to go on to teach, then surely you want to buy your clay at the cheapest possible prices, and your certifications will give you these discounts, will allow you to do those discounts. Now there are different certification programs. PMC have a route and Art Clay have a route, and they have different programs, different projects, etc, etc. So they are basically brand led certificate, I'll try that again, certification programs. Now I myself teach the Art Clay certificate, and it's simply because art clay was the first material I ever learned to use, and it's just it's my go-to kind of, the thing I learned how to use, and it's the thing I'm most familiar with. I understand how the material works, how it behaves, where I can push it, its limitations. PMC is a fantastic brand too, and it's certainly got a slightly different set of products, although they're very similar, they're not the same. And again, they have some amazing products in there that are fantastic, but I'm less familiar with the PMC route products, I should say, than the Art Clay products. Although I have done PMC certifications, I did those in America. I did the I've done the Rio Reward certification, which I did here in the UK, and I've done the what was the other one? Rio Rewards. No, what was the other one? Not Rio Rewards. Anyway, another PMC qualification that I don't actually think exists anymore. But I did that in the States. The Rio Rewards I did here, and again, Rio Rewards isn't available now as a certification program. So we were using PMC products, But since the days I was taking those certification programs, the products have developed and moved on and improved a great deal. So it's great that we've got these different products to work with, and I take the best of both worlds. So PMC, I absolutely love the Flex. I love the PMC sheet. I think that's amazing, and I love the One Fire Sterling. But for teaching, I generally stick to Art Clay Silver. This is my favourite go-to Art Clay Silver 999. I just feel it's brilliant for teaching with. You can't beat being in the classroom. It's great for inspiration and motivation, especially if you have an amazing... Oh, thank you, Richard. Bless him. Oh, bless you. Richard is one of my regular Tuesday crew folk. But bless him, he's had to take a different path for the time being. But I hope you're going to be right back, Richard. Your journey's amazing already. So it's great to see where you're going. So keep in touch. I know you will. So yes, these certifications. So while they're two different brands and two different paths here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Art Clay certification. And I'm going to say, if you need any more information about the PMC route certification, there is the PMC Studio, and they've got all the information. Or speak to Helen Dry, if Helen's out there, or one of the other PMC instructors. They can advise you on that particular route if you want to make any comparisons here. Hi Tracy, have you ever used Aussie Clays? They're fantastic. I do have some Aussie Clay. I do have some Aussie Clay in my squirrel drawer, and no, I've not used it. But do you know what, Gloria? Okay, you've shamed me into it. I'll have a go with it this week. I know Aussie do their own certification program as well, don't they? And they've got a whole range of clays. So thank you for bringing that up as well. So yes, the Aussie Clays. Is there a link where we can buy Aussie Clays? Do you know, Gloria? If you've got that, drop that in there as well. Or do we have to buy them direct from Kim's doing no fuss fire technique? Okay, if you've got the link to the Aussie Clay where we can buy it, then please drop that in the link there if anybody's interested. I'm not sure whether we have to buy that directly from Australia now, or is there a supplier here in the UK? If you know of one, drop that link. Okay, so I'll talk about the Art Clay certification. Okay, so not only will you learn lots and lots of different techniques, it will teach you how to polish. I know I talked about polishing previously, but it will really get honing in on those polishing techniques as well. But lots of techniques to learn. They're only available in the US and Australia. Anna's given up in the UK. Yes, I know Anna's given up in the UK. So yeah, if you want to buy the Aussie Clays, you think you have to buy them directly from Australia. So thanks for that, Gloria. The certification program, the Art Clay certification program, is made up of 3 stages, if you like. In level 1, there are 6 set projects, and they're all graded and marked so that you have a standard, and they're graded between 1 and 5. And these 6 set projects, that's hard to say. These 6 set projects, I'll show you what they are. So in level 1, if anybody's interested in going down this route, then one of the first pieces you'll do is, I've got these all wrapped up, is a simple little pendant piece. I can't turn it around. Simple little pendant piece that's textured on both sides and has a little gemstone setting. Now you do have a little bit of design freedom with these pieces, but they have to meet certain criteria. So that's the first piece you do for your level 1 certification. Then there's another piece which is is a leaf. Now this is possibly one of the easiest pieces you can make, and it takes a natural leaf and you paint your silver clay paste onto the leaf and you get these wonderful, beautiful, elegant replicas of a silver leaf. So it's really easy to do. There are 2 rings in the level 1 art clay certification, and one of the rings is this one, which is called a flat band ring. If I can show you this, a flat band ring. It's got syringe detail on the outside, and it's got a very high-end mirror finish polish on the inside. So there's certain objectives here we need to meet. Seamless ring band, so we've got no evidence of it being joined on the inside, and we've got this very high-end mirror shine on the inside of there, and we've got some beautiful syringe lines and oxidation happening. So that's one ring. Another ring is, perhaps not this one, which is a pearl ring. So again, there's a bit of design freedom on this. Basically, you've got to capture some molded elements. So on here there's a couple of little seashells, and a little the base here is made from a sea urchin, and we've got a half drilled pearl on the top of there as well, and we've got a really nice textured ring band. So they're the 2 rings that you need to make. There is a brooch, and I'm just looking for my little brooch in here. Oh, here's my little brooch. So my little brooch that I've got, again, there's some design freedom on making this brooch. So you're going to make a brooch that has some hand texture on here. You've got 2 little mirror finishes on each side. You've got an embeddable gemstone setting in somewhere within this design. Now, although this is my design, it doesn't have to be exactly this design. There's a lot of design freedom. Here's an alternative, and this one is like a little peacock. Again, you've got hand texture, mirror finish, a gemstone setting, and of course we've got to finish it with a brooch pin as well. Oops. So these are my examples, and there's one more piece here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this one for the level 1 is these earrings, these hollow form syringed earrings, which I love. I still love these. I think these are so elegant. They're so light. So that's the level 1. Now you might want to stop at doing your certification at level 1. That might be as much as you want to do, or you can possibly take it on to the next stage, which is level 2. And level 2, just take it up a little gear. So level 2 is 4 projects. Now both of these levels are usually done over about 3 days, there or thereabouts. Some different tutors have different amounts of time they allocate into doing these. For me, I have 3 days for the level 1 and 3 days for the level 2. So the level 2 pieces are to make a ring. This is the ring. To make a ring that has a D profile shaped ring band. So what is meant by that is means it's flat on the inside, and then from point to point it has this gentle D shape. It's quite literally, if you cut it in half, you should be able to see like a D shape profile. It is wider at the top this way than the bottom, and it is wider at the top than the bottom in this way. So it's wider at the top here and narrower at the bottom. It's got to be symmetrical, and then we've got to put some carved lines in as well. If I can get this closer, you can see the little carved lines in here as well. So, and then you've got to shine the whole thing up to a really nice mirror finish. Okay, so I've got a couple of different examples because they don't all have to be the same. So this one's got sort of a snakeskin kind of carved pattern on it, although it meets all the same criteria. This one has a bit of a crazy paving pattern on it carved into it, although it all meets the same criteria. This one has a bit of a swirly pattern on it, although it meets all the same criteria. So you can see you can vary the patterns and put a little bit of your own personality into it. And then we have, so that's the ring. So it's quite important that we get that shape. This one is an unfired one, but you can see I've polished it using the 3M polishing papers before it's fired, and I haven't even carved into this yet, so that's on its way. Another piece we need to do for the level 2 is to make another brooch, so a brooch with the brooch pin on it. This time we need to set a little cabochon on here, so I've created this feather design. It can be a design of your own choice with a bit of hand texturing. It's got to have a cabochon stone setting and a little bit of gold kimbu added as well. So this is my piece for the example of my level 2 pieces. I've got a slightly different version here. Again, the design can vary quite a bit, although it meets all the same criteria. It's got a cabochon stone setting, it's got a little bit of gold on it, it's got the textures, and it's got a brooch pin on the back of there. So you've got all these different criteria that you need to meet, but it meets the same brief. We've then got a piece that is a glass cabochon set into a lentil bead. So it's a nice little lentil bead. It's got a little bail on the top. So in addition, the lentil bead has got some embellishment on the surface of the glass, and that is using one of the art clay products called overlay paste. And there's also, if you can see at the bottom there, a couple of little bare set faceted gemstones, just right at the 3 little things you can see at the bottom there are little faceted gemstones. So you need to set those in as well. Again, there's variations on the design. It doesn't have to be in the center. Here's one that's a little bit asymmetric but meets the same criteria again. And our fourth and final piece for the level 2, where's my other one gone? Oh, it's here, hiding under there. For the fourth and final piece for the level 2 is a copper and silver combination piece. So the silver piece is made with an aperture, a hole in the middle if you like, and we put some syringe detail in there. And you also make a copper piece, and then we rivet the silver to the copper. So this is again one example. It meets all the criteria, and this is another example. This one is kind of a butterfly sitting on a leaf, still riveted. Whoops, riveted. So I've got 4 rivets on that one. So it's all riveted with the syringe detail as well. So they are the pieces that you would need to go through for the level 1 and level 2 certification process for the art clay. Now there is another level. There's a 3rd level, which is all about making 3 more further pieces. You're going to do that independently. You're going to do that at home or by yourself. There is set criteria that you need to meet to complete those 3 pieces. One of them is a ring, one of them is a brooch, and one of them is a pendant piece. And as I say, there's some very, very specific criteria for you to meet to create those pieces. And it's really important that you read the details in those criteria, because far too often there's something gets missed. So yeah, follow those details. Now, what's the advantage and disadvantages of doing the certification programs? Well, there's a cost, of course. There's a cost against doing this course. However, you might want to think about the benefits, the long-term benefits. So again, if you are thinking about going into teaching, or if you are making to sell on a long-term basis, you want to get your clay at the cheapest possible price. Yeah, that's a no-brainer in my mind. And so you've got to weigh up the pros and cons of the cost of the course against the long-term benefits of your discounts that you're going to achieve having done this course. And of course, if you go on to do your level 3 art clay certification, you're going to get your instructor level, so you can then go on and teach as well if you want to. So there's lots of interesting benefits. So if you want, I've told you all about this art clay certification. If you want to make some comparisons to the PMC certification, I know there's the discount as well on those, and there's different projects you can do, and there's different costs and things involved. So yeah, you can make your comparisons. You only know which path you want to take until you're informed. So I hope that's given you a little bit of information about the certification program. Yeah. Has anybody got anything else they want to ask me? I did the art clay certification with Tracy, loved it and learned a lot, and now working on designs for the level 3. That's fantastic, Helen. I'm so glad you're working on those designs. Yes, different tutors, there isn't a standard cost, I don't think. Different tutors will have different methods or ways that they deliver the courses. I actually am happy to do what they call the intensive. So I set the dates for the certification program, and you'll find I do level 1 and level 2 back to back. Now you've got the option to do them over those 6 days if you want to. There's 3 days for level 1 and 3 days for level 2. You can do them back to back if you want to, but I do call it the intensive. It's intensive for a reason. It is really hard going to do those 2 courses back to back, and you've really got to make sure that you are prepared for 6 days of hard slog, because it is. Although you're sat at a desk, it is physically demanding and mentally demanding to get through that certification program. So if you're prepared for it and you're ready for it, then you can go on and do 6 days. Equally, I'm happy for people to split it as well. So you might just want to come and start with your level 1, give it 6, 12, 18 months, 2 years, 7 years in advance before you come back to do your level 2. That's entirely up to you. So yes, you can take a break in between, and sometimes that's really helpful because it'll give you a little bit of breathing room. It'll help you know that you've got space to kind of progress and learn a bit more. So Malkisa says, haven't been able to find an art clay level 1, level and 2 online over the last year. If there's such a thing, or can only get taught in person. For art clay certification, you can only be taught in person, I'm afraid. I do know the PMC are offering a online alternative. If you want to take a look at those, yeah, go to the online. I don't know where you are, Malika. Are you in the UK, US? Yeah, as Helen says, it is intensive, it is tiring, but so worth it. Thank you. And Kathy, do I do online? I can't teach the certification program online. I only can do this in person, unfortunately. But if you take a look at some of my other online distance learning courses, there's elements in those courses that there's bits in here that translate into some of that, if you know what I mean. There's like a focus on rings course, which will show you how to make a ring like this. I do change it up a bit, but it's not that ring, but it's as near as damn it to that ring. But go and take a look at some of my online distance learning courses. You might want to have a look at those, because there's certainly elements in there the crossover into doing these. So if you're only looking to skill up and you're not particularly worried about the gaining the certificate itself or gaining your discounts, then there are skill ups you can get through my online distance learning course. Okay, recommend having 2 different tutors for level 1 and the reason is the different tutors bring different tips and techniques to the table, and you get to know those people quite well. Indeed, good idea, Pat. You're in Leicester, Malika. Joined joined you for Anna's course a few years ago and did my first art clay course with you at JM. Okay. So yeah, Malika, I'm really sorry, but the art clay certification is only in-person courses. It's not online, but there are other tutors that might be nearer to you. Malika, I'll drop you an email or a message if I can. I think Laurie Ridgway may be nearer to you if you want to check her out, if you know of Laurie. I think she's nearer to you anyway. You want to have a look? I think Laurie's teaching certification program as well. So yeah, these online distance learning courses that I do, you know, there's elements in there that you can pick out from these projects too. So yeah, definitely worth doing if you are making to sell, or if you are wanting to go on to teach doing the certification program. But you know, as I say, it may not be for you. If you're just doing this for your own pleasure, then that's fine. You may not need to do that. So, Joy, replying to Kathy. Yeah. Okay. What else can I tell you? I'll just go and say about if in the future you ever get the opportunity to do any retreats or any conferences that are going. I know we can't do them at the moment, but I can only say, yes, they might seem a lot of money, but they are worthwhile going to, because you'll meet so many wonderful people. You'll be inspired, even if you'll see people wearing their fantastic pieces of jewellery, and you'll walk around looking at everybody's chest because they're wearing so wonderful things. So if you ever want to be inspired, then yeah, the retreats, conferences, masterclasses are definitely a fantastic route to go if you want to progress with your metal clay journeys. Otherwise, you might be skilled enough just to learn on your own.